Tennessee Titans fans, the folks over at NFL Network, I suppose, are talking about their expectations of the Tennessee Titans in 2025. This was just uploaded. Buy-in or keep trying is the question.
We're going to take some of the headlines out there and see if we are buying or if we should keep on trying. So I'm going to make a statement. You guys know how this game goes. You tell me if you're buying or keep trying. First up, we're going to talk about the Titans here. They took quarterback Cam Ward with the first overall pick in last week's draft. But head coach Brian Callahan spoke to reporters yesterday, and he's not ready to hand him the starting job quite yet. Playing hard to get.
They'll have plenty of opportunities. How those reps get shaken out will sort of be determined by how they perform when given opportunities. That part of it's been thought out. We have a plan in place. And what that looks like is going to ultimately be sort of up to them, plan. And how their performance goes when there's time to perform. So feel good about the process and the plan in place, and there's going to be plenty of reps for those guys to compete and get better and improve and be ready to play in September.
Okay, so the number one overall pick might not start according to
that. I just don't buy that at all. I think that's ludicrous. I think it's ludicrous. Like if you had Joe Flacco on the roster, if you had a veteran quarterback like that you felt like, this guy can start while we continue to get our number one pick ready, that's one thing. But if you're going to tell me with a straight face that Will Levis is going to be the guy you roll with after picking this guy number one overall, I don't buy that.
To Brian Callahan, he's not going to give him the keys quite yet. I just wonder how long that's going to last. At what point does he finally say, okay, yeah, no, of course, he's starting. Could the Titans, though, at this point, be this year's Commanders? Buy-in or keep trying? Whoa. Willie?
What do you got, Willie? I say keep trying.
Yeah.
I say keep trying. I think that's unfair to the young man. But when I think about Cam Ward, I think competitor. And I also like what Brian Callahan has done. He's brought...
I tend to agree. I mean, I think it would be ludicrous at this point. I've said the ludicrous word twice in this video so far. Luda! I think it would be crazy to just say, I'm buying. The Titans are going to be this year's Commanders. Because we don't see instances like what happened with the Commanders too often, where you've got a guy who comes in like Jaden Daniels did and just has what may have been the greatest rookie season I've ever seen. Like he said, that's unfair to Cam Ward, because there are going to be people, if Cam Ward comes out and has growing pains and he's not Jaden Daniels right off the bat, there are going to be people who say that he's a failure and we need to move on already. But in the real world, 9 times out of 10, he's still a rookie. There's going to be issues along the way.
Vets in the building. You're talking about Tyler Lockett. You're talking about Van Jefferson. You're talking about Calvin Ridley. They're really putting pieces around him where wherever Cam goes, he has somebody with experience and data on how to navigate his career and navigate himself on the football field. I think overall what Brian Callahan has done, he's really getting guys around guys who have played at a high level in big-time games, which is important because I tell you what, guys, and Manti can attest to this, good teams have good conversations on the practice field, right? Especially when you have young guys on the field. They want to talk about the Migos and what they did last night. When you have vets who played in big-time games and play big-time football, they talk about mechanics. They talk about how to get the job done on Sunday. So if you have a merging of that type of culture, that's how you build a locker room. That's how you build a culture in the building where the young guys can say, hey, man, how do I win on this down, old fella? He can lean on Tyler Lockett. If I got to talk to Calvin Ridley, man, I got this safety this week. I got to get up over the top. I got to lean on him. What can I do? You have guys in the building who have that expertise. So this is big for Cam Ward. Can they do what they watch the Commanders do? I don't know. That's yet to be seen. But I think right now, I think they just have to worry about being the Tennessee Titans and a new team.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, obviously, everybody should aspire to be able to do what the Commanders. Really, everybody should aspire to do what the Eagles did last year. Everybody should aspire to win the Super Bowl. But I mean, at the end of the day, I agree with what he said. You get, not just at wide receiver, but on the offensive line too. I like what the Titans have done, not only trying to get the best starting 5 they can, but also getting tons of depth at backup positions to say, hey, we don't want our rookie quarterback to suffer because we can't protect him. We want to get a good starting five. We want to get good rotational guys. We want to get good backups. We want to have guys that can come in at a moment's notice and protect this kid. And yes, we've already got Calvin Ridley. We brought in Tyler Lockett, who I think will be a good leader. Van Jefferson with experience. Picked up a tight end and 2 wide receivers in the 4th round that we think are going to be good. It all makes sense what they've done.
Tennessee Titans that can take over this division.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Willie. I'm on the keep trying train as well. And, you talk about Cam Ward. Willie, you brought up a great point about the conversations that are had between the good teams and the bad teams and with these young players that are coming into the NFL with all these NIL deals and all of that stuff and the type of conversations that are had on teams that you were on, Willie, that were on Super Bowls. It's just a different conversation. What I do like about Cam Ward is when he was with Shedeur Sanders in the summer, you see those conversations with Shedeur going back and forth. And, Cam Ward said, man, all I do is play football. I'm a football player. I'm a football player. I'm a football player. So that's a plus for Brian Callahan. So can these guys be the Washington Commanders? Listen, everybody wants to be the Washington Commanders. Everybody was talking during the draft that they want to find the next Jaden Daniels. The fact of the matter is this: you don't have Jaden Daniels without Cliff Kingsbury. You don't have. It's like peanut butter jelly.
Interesting point by Manti Te'o, because I just said this to a buddy the other day. I'm still a little bit worried about Brian Callahan. I like Brian Callahan. I think he's a good football mind, but lest we forget, he didn't do a great job last year either. And I just really hope that Brian Callahan is able to give Cam Ward everything he needs as a head coach / play caller. I really hope that Brian Callahan is able to grow. We talk about players like Cedric Gray, Tavondre Sweat, Jarvis Brownlee. We talk about those guys, and they need to take another step. They need to grow. They need to get better. Brian Callahan, he may not be a player, but as a head coach, he needs to be better. Has to be better.
Go together. If you have a Jaden Daniels, but you don't have a system that functions and uses Jaden Daniels' strengths at his best, you're not going to have what the Commanders had. But for the Tennessee Titans, you do have Brian Callahan, who was with the Cincinnati Bengals. And thanks, Rich Homie Quan. When Brian Callahan was with the Bengals and Joe Burrow was the quarterback, Joe Burrow had the 3rd best completion percentage in the NFL. So put that with Cam Ward, who, if you look at Cam Ward, I'm not saying Cam Ward is Joe Burrow, but what I am saying is Brian Callahan knows how to coach quarterbacks. And if you look at the Tennessee Titans team, they really need that quarterback because, Willie, you brought it up. Their depth chart and who they brought in, they have a lot of weapons over there in Tennessee. So I'm not going to say that they're going to be this year's Commanders, but what I am going to say is, watch out for those Titans.
It's a pretty tall order to be the Commanders, guys. I mean, we're talking about the Titans' #1 overall pick. The Commanders knocked the Lions out of the playoffs. The Commanders were in the NFC title. That was an historic season for the Commanders. So, no, keep trying. They're not going to be the Commanders. But listen, it was C.J. Stroud 2 years ago in the Texans. Then it was Jaden. It was the Commanders. Now, is it Cam Ward? You got to have a hell of a season for Cam Ward to make this team the team that really, really matters. And the thing I like about Cam Ward, and there's a lot to like, Cam Ward threw over 2,300 passes in college. Trevor Lawrence has not thrown that many in the NFL. He's been in the league 4 years.
He said it. Don't come yelling at me, Jacksonville fans, if you watch this. I didn't say it. He said it. Take it up with him. I didn't say it. He said it.
Tua has not thrown that many in the NFL. He's been in the league 5 years. So this guy has played so much football, granted, all over the place and at universities that people can't even find on a map. But I'm a huge, huge fan of Cam Ward. I'm not saying that just to say it. Most people are apathetic about Cam Ward. Most people are apathetic about the Titans. And my take on the Titans this year was I don't think they're going to be the Commanders. I do think we will be talking about them. And I'm proud of us because we are one of the few shows in history to talk about the Tennessee Titans. And Good Morning Football, we remember the Titans. And I feel like we should have a counter about how many segments we do about the Titans between now and September. We've already done one right here, so we have more than all the other shows will, but I want to count them, and I think they'll give us more once the season starts. Listen, 8 and 9's on the table for the Titans this year. Hell yes, you jump on that. The Commanders are in the ether. That was a really special season there'll be documentaries about. I think Cam Ward and the Titans giving us something to talk about is a big improvement.
And I also want to say this. I think if you're the Titans right now, understand who's been the top dog of your division. That's the Houston Texans.
No
right?
doubt.
Like, so you look at C.J. Stroud and you look at their defense and you look at what they bring to the field. They bring a brand of football where it travels. When you talk about Tennessee Titans, they don't travel well, right? And they don't even play well at home. So right now,
I was about to say, it ain't about traveling well. We don't even stay home well.
We got to get into the mindset like, hey, we got to dominate at home. We got to kick butt on the road, and we got to do what the big boys up front. I like the addition of Kevin Zeitler. I like the fact that they have Jeffrey Simmons, who I'm a big fan of. But overall, they got to get beefy in the trenches, and they got to run the ball better, too, to help complement Cam Ward. So I like the Titans, man, but they got much more work ahead of them.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same train. We're all in a keep trying train. You know, Kyle, you said that your expectation is that they're going to go 8-9. The question was, are they going to be this year's Commanders? Well, the Commanders are in the NFC Championship game. So if that's not what they are, I want to go around the table real quick, KB, Willie, Colleen. What do you think going after this season? If we look back at the 2025 Titans team, like this would be a good year for them. KB, you said 8-9. What does that look like? Do they make the playoffs? What does that look like?
I think it's like Cam Ward is a guy. Like he can play.
Yeah.
It is.
Before I even hear the rest of their answers, the main thing that you want to take away, and I hate to say this because about 2024, I said the main thing you got to find out is what you have with Will Levis. We found out. Now the main thing you want to see in 2025, Cam Ward. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be Jaden Daniels. But can we get through the season and get to the end and feel like him? Because the Patriots with Drake May. Patriots were not good last year, but they saw enough from Drake May that they can go forward and say, we believe in this kid. He's going to be great. That's the main thing you want to see. Now, obviously, there are other players too. I want to see Tyjae Spears stay healthy and have a good year. I want to see some of those linebackers, Cedric Gray and James Williams, step up. I want to see Jarvis Brownlee take a step. I want to see all of the incoming rookies play well. But Cam Ward's the one that you've got to be able to look back on the 2025 season and say, hey, the Titans have their quarterback. That's what you have to be able to say. Now, they mentioned 8-9. I know we see 8-9 as a record and we think, oh, that's probably not going to get you in the playoffs, 8-9, whatever. But you know what? The Titans were 3-14 and obviously the worst team in the league last year. If you get to 8-9 this year, Brian Callahan keeps his job. You probably feel good about Cam Ward. You feel good about what you're building because you went from 3-14 to 8-9. That would be a huge step in the right direction.
It's a little bit like the Broncos last year with Knicks, or even the Patriots who lost a ton, but they have a quarterback. I don't even almost care what the Titans' record is this year. Make improvements, sure, but we have a franchise quarterback with the number 1 overall pick. I don't really care how the record washes out after that. What do you think, Willie?
I'm coming off the top ropes of KB, man. You want to see Cam Ward just be a guy.
Yeah.
Let the mouth match the play, and at the end of the day, if they are a wild card team, that's a big plus. So I got them.
If you make the playoffs, I don't even care if you get beat 50-0 in the playoffs. Like they mentioned Denver. Denver got whooped in the playoffs, but the fact that they were even in it with Bo Nix.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that the Titans are going to go from 3 wins all the way to playing in the AFC Championship game. That's a huge jump. But, yeah, we will see improvement. And I could see them winning 7 games, 8 games. Kyle, I feel like that's right in that sweet spot. But look at their wide receivers. They have Tyler Lockett. They have Van Jefferson, Calvin Ridley. None of them are, I mean, Tyler Lockett has been in the league for a while at this point, and Van Jefferson, I want to see him stay on the field all season long. And Calvin Ridley, I want him to reach the expectations that we all have for him and that we've all had for him for so long. So if Cam Ward is the guy that can get that out of Calvin Ridley, then that's wonderful, and everyone wins that are Titans fans. And then we will be talking more about the Titans here on this show.
You know, showing up, being the same guy every single day.
I mean, I'm convinced the Titans could win the Super Bowl, and most shows wouldn't even have a segment about it. But, yeah, I think everything they said is fair. It is not realistic or fair to say they're going to be the Commanders of this year. That's rare to do what the Commanders did. I mean, if we do that, then I'll run around nude outside or something. I won't really do that. If you're a police officer watching this, don't worry. I'm not actually going to do it. It was just an empty threat. But like, yeah, that would be great. But I just want to see the team start heading in the right direction. Last year, it looked like a team that was headed in the wrong direction. It looked like a team that was completely going the opposite way of where they should be going. At the very least, this season, I want to see it start to at least point the right direction and then maybe even start to move the right direction. Because last year it felt like we were getting further away from where we wanted to be. This year you got to start getting headed in the right direction. Okay? Tighten up, everybody. Have a good day.